Good morning. Welcome to OATS, Opportunities Around Thinking Strategically. I want to go back to the original purpose of OATS. You may recall, for those of you who've been listening in, that we were challenged in Leadership Tennessee to return to our communities and make a difference, have some impact. And so today, I want to talk about having purposeful impact. And if we could all choose one thing to purposefully impact our communities, what would that be? Now, I found myself talking to a group about their impact at work and their purpose at work. And so I started the conversation off with, let's get out of the way, first of all, those things that keep us from having purposeful impact. So I opened it up with number one. I had a book, it's called Loving Mondays. And I said to them, if you walk into work on Monday and you're already wishing it was Friday, you probably won't have purposeful impact in that job. You might need to go do something else to fulfill that purpose. And the second thing I said to them was, as a supervisor, I don't want to be a clock watcher, so don't make me one. But in order not to make me one, I don't need you to be one either. And so sometimes to have that purposeful impact, it might take coming in 30 minutes earlier and leaving 30 minutes later than when the clock strikes 4 o'clock straight up and down. The third thing I said to them was, if you want to have purposeful impact, and this happened to be to a group of ladies I was speaking with, I said to them, quit talking yourself out of it. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, there's research, or there's a thought that if a young woman thinks that she might be able to ask for a promotion and move into a job, and a young man is sitting next to her, that young man might say, I'm going to apply for that job, while the young lady says to herself, I don't think I have it just yet. Well, he may not either. But you talked yourself out of it rather than saying, I can learn it just as fast as he can. And so to have impact in your workplace, you have to believe in your authentic self. And so today I want to talk about some suggestions about finding and guiding yourself to that. Number one, take your piece of paper, white, pink, blue, it doesn't matter. And I want you to draw a circle. And inside of that circle, I want you to write down, I am. And I want you to draw spokes. Make it look like a daisy, a flower. You have spokes outside of that circle. And I want you to write out 6 things, no more than 8, 6 things that excite you. So for instance, for me, I did this probably 10 years ago. And I'm living some of those things today, and it's causing me to be able to have purposeful impact in my community. And so I wrote down that I really like speaking. I wrote down that I really like reading and figuring out the next best innovative method to do something, right? And so you can fill that circle up with things that excite you. I wrote down that I love gardening, excites me. As a matter of fact, in the next 6 hours, I'll have out a beautiful garden because it makes me feel good. And so write those things down. How can you have purposeful impact? The next thing that I want you to do, and I learned this from studying leadership and strengths through Gallup. And it was probably in 2001 when they said to me, write down your board of directors. I thought, what does that mean? And so they said, imagine that you're at a conference table and you are on an advisory committee. You are on the board of directors. Well, take that and use it personally. So who's around your table? And let me say, and once you figure out who's around your table, you need to make sure there's someone on there who mentors you, someone who makes you laugh, but most of all, those that you trust. Those who can tell you things you need to hear even though you might not want to hear them. So who have you pulled up around your board of directors? And let me warn you, I found myself in this situation. There were a couple of chairs that I had to remove from around my board of directors because they weren't in the place that I needed them to be to help me have that purposeful impact in what I was about to do. Now, that's not to say that I disregarded those folk. And at some point, they may be able to come back to your table. But you have to be realistic with yourself. And so I'm going to suggest that purposeful impact, what can you do? What one thing can you do to impact your community? I remember when I first spoke about this, I stood up and I was talking to a group of middle school and high school students. And I asked them, I said, think about today what you can do when you graduate, or what can you do today where you are in life to have purposeful impact? And at that time, I heard myself say, I want to create a robust mentoring program in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Again, go back to that, what excites me. It excites me to help people. And so at CGLA, as the administrator, we have 5 mentoring programs developed within our school. We have one that even works with the community called workplace mentoring, right? We have internal mentoring. That's where Elaine Swafford, as the CEO, has 4 or 5 students that she sees hopefully every other week and talks to them about life, about grades, about home. We also created a peer-to-peer mentoring program. We have people who come in who do, we call it external mentoring. And it's adults just coming in to talk with individual students. And then, of course, last but not least, our founder has what she calls the Mustang Leadership Program. She takes 14 or so girls to her farm every week and teaches them dressage, veterinary medicine. She adopts wild Mustangs from the Bureau of Land Management. And so that, speaking about having purposeful impact that day in the community, has led to these mentoring programs. So I challenge you to go back using some of these methods that we've talked about today and figure out how you too can create that purposeful impact moment or time within your life, within your home, within your school, within your community. Thanks for joining us for OATS, Opportunities Around Thinking Strategically.